My name is David Hughes. I'm the Chief Medical Officer at the Australian Institute of Sport in Canberra. A concussion is a condition that occurs where there is a biomechanical force either to the head or somewhere else to the body where the force is transmitted to the head. The symptoms and signs of concussion can be quite subtle. Sometimes it's as simple as someone not being able to concentrate, someone not being quite themselves, feeling like they're in a fog, feeling slightly dizzy, or feeling a bit unsure of where they are or feeling confused. And that is not always, those sort of symptoms are not always obvious on the field of play. It's really important that everyone is aware of potential red flags. These include neck pain or neck tenderness, blurred vision, nausea or vomiting, numbness or tingling or weakness in any of the limbs, deteriorating level of consciousness. All of these are indications that someone should be moved immediately and safely from wherever they are to a medical facility such as an emergency department where they can be appropriately assessed. If someone has had a forceful blow, not necessarily to the head, but a forceful blow to anywhere in the body where they are then not quite themselves, they should be assumed that they have a concussion and they should be removed from the field of play.
I think the best advice is to understand that concussion's an injury. It's an injury to the brain, same as you can injure your hamstring or your calf, and so it needs to be treated appropriately. In most cases, concussion will completely resolve, usually over a few days to a few weeks. There are cases where concussions are prolonged, but that's definitely not the norm. Our concern relates to treating it early, to identifying it early, and protecting from future harm. We take on this mantra of, if in doubt, sit them out. And that's purely for the long-term welfare of all athletes.
I would say to athletes that there is no such thing as a good concussion, and we need to be concerned about each concussion and manage each concussion seriously, but they can be reassured that in the vast majority of cases, individuals who suffer sport-related concussion with appropriate treatment will make an uneventful recovery and will return to sport and will have no long-term consequences. The best way to avoid both the short-term and long-term consequences of concussion are to let someone know that you're not feeling yourself and allow yourself to be diagnosed, and then to follow very closely the advice given to you by your healthcare practitioner about how to safely resume sport. There was times in the past where it was viewed as being tough or a sign of commitment for people to play on with concussion, but hiding concussion symptoms or playing on with concussion symptoms is not tough, it's dangerous. What I would say to an athlete who has had concussion and is wondering what to do or what, I suppose, approach they should take is that we want you to play as much sport as possible because we know that sport has enormous emotional, psychological, physical benefits for the individual participating. But we would also say to them that your brain is a very important organ and we want to do everything to optimize your brain health. So it is absolutely okay to say you're not okay. And in fact, what we want to do is ensure that you return to play as soon as possible, but only when you are fully recovered from your concussion. And that's how you're going to optimize your brain health and also optimize the time that you can be participating in your sport. Because if you were to suffer a further concussion close to the first one, not only is that not good for your brain health, but it results in much longer time away from your chosen sport. What we really don't want is athletes returning to sport prematurely. There's a number of effects that can result from returning to sport prematurely, including exposing yourself to musculoskeletal injury, which we know occurs more frequently in people who have been concussed and go back to sport too soon, exposing yourself to further head trauma and therefore compromising your brain health, and also, if you are concussed a further time, that can result in a much longer time out of sport. So really, if you want to minimise time away from sport, the best way to do that is to be completely open and honest with your healthcare providers in terms of how you're feeling, and then to follow the return to play protocol as closely as you can. And I would say just listen to your doctor or healthcare practitioner and follow very closely the stepwise advice for gradually increasing your activity. Take your time, follow the steps appropriately, and that will ensure that we get you back to sport at an appropriate time when you're ready to do so, and that you don't expose yourself to further risk of concussion or other musculoskeletal injury that can result if you go back to sport when you're not ready to. My final message to athletes involved in sport is all of these resources are here to make sport safer for you. So it's okay to say that you're not okay, and please, if in doubt, sit out.